Here at Devil's Tower, we're really working to uphold the mission of the National Park Service by working to protect the many plant and animal species here in the park. And right now, bats are facing many threats, including the threat of a disease called Whitenose Syndrome. And Whitenose Syndrome has decimated bat populations, particularly in the eastern United States. But here at Devil's Tower, we don't have Whitenose Syndrome here, and hopefully we never will. But if we ever do, we really want to get a baseline about how our population is doing before the disease gets here, if it ever does. We've been studying the northern long-eared bat, which is Myotis septentrionalis, and that's one of the species that was hit hardest by Whitenose Syndrome. And so the last couple of years, we've done a project with University of Wyoming where we've been misnetting and capturing those bats and tagging them and tracking them to their roost trees to see what types of habitat they prefer. And we're also going to be tracking them to the places where they might be hibernating.
So the Wyoming Natural Diversity Database is part of bat research in Wyoming because part of our core mission is to better understand wildlife species in the state of Wyoming. And so the work that we've been doing with the National Park Service here at Devil's Tower National Monument has been focused on identifying day roost structures of northern long-eared bat. So misnet for bats for a lot of reasons. One is so you can actually identify the species. It also gives us a chance to evaluate wing and tail membranes for any signs of Whitenose Syndrome.
This one's really clean.
Which I think is a really important monitoring thing to keep doing here in areas where we don't have the disease yet. But I think early detection is certainly going to be a key. See how it's a third from the elbow. And so getting a handle on where bats are and about how many we may have on the landscape, and then also where some of these important habitat features like where bats hibernate during the winter are really critical questions that we need to address.
It's important to monitor and study bats so that we can better protect them. If we know more about where the bats are living in the park, we can do more to try to protect those habitats. But it needs to be science-based, and that's the most important thing. Is we need to make sure that any management actions that we take are based on good, solid science. And really, we very strongly hope that Whitenose Syndrome never reaches Devil's Tower. But if it does, at least we'll be prepared with a lot of data that will help us to better protect bats.